after.
Midnight.
And rolling on audio.
Good clap.
Good clap.
Good clap,
I
man.
never do it.
You did this time.
I
though.
did.
That's what's important.
You know, here at the Just After Midnight podcast.
Is that what this is?
It is.
All right.
Shockingly. We talk a lot of shit. And most of it's deserved, I would say.
I would say.
So.
But I do know something that you want to talk shit about today.
What would that be?
I'm curious if it's deserved.
Okay. What is it?
What's your fucking beef with Jenna Ortega, bro?
Okay.
What's your fucking beef, bro?
I have like an analytical, actual answer to this question.
Do you respect her as an artist? Do you think she's talented? Let's start with that.
No.
Okay. Why?
There's a movie called...
Oh, God, I already know what movie.
Do you really?
Yes. Go ahead. The porn movie?
No.
Oh.
No, it's a family movie
Oh. Well, far from what I was thinking.
called Yes Day.
Okay. Oh, yeah, okay. All right.
Is
Didn't
the-
know she was in that. I've heard of the movie, never seen it.
So, the whole movie is terrible, which really sucks because...
Wait. Is
What?
that Mark Wahlberg?
No.
Okay.
No. Jennifer Garner is
Yep.
the big lead in it.
Okay.
Which that's kind of why it sucks for me is because I love Jennifer Garner.
Love Jennifer Garner. 13 going on 30?
She's great.
Get out of town.
She's great.
Mark Ruffalo?
Unfortunately, I think her career is on a downward trajectory at the moment.
Jennifer Garner?
Yeah, because she
since
took
like 2008.
this. Yeah, so
I don't think her career was thriving before that. Love her.
in the
I mean,
80s
this
it
is-
was.
Wait. Jennifer Gardner?
Yeah,
In the 80s?
she was young, but it was thriving.
She is 13 going on 30.
Think so.
With Mark Ruffalo.
Think so. That sounds right. I could be wrong, but it sounds right.
I'm going to say it is.
Okay, so back to Jenna Ortega real quick.
Okay,
though.
yeah.
All the performances in that movie, except for Jennifer Gardner, funny enough, were terrible. Jenna Ortega probably steals the shit list cake, though. It's
Okay, first off.
miserable to get through. The only reason I bring it up is because it came out last year. And
That's what I was going to ask is how old is the movie?
yeah,
How
so
old? Because she's been acting as of today.
for a while,
It's been about 10 years.
Yeah.
She's been acting.
she was playing a 13-year-old in that movie too, which feels weird, especially because she's being praised as like a sex symbol now.
I mean, she looks wildly young.
Wildly young,
Yeah.
which is a problem with
Which I
Hollywood.
think she is. I think she's only like... I don't even know if she can drink legally.
Yeah, it's sort of the same dilemma as like Millie Bobby Brown.
Well, it's the same dilemma as most of them, dude.
Yeah,
People freak me out, man. People...
And on the internet especially because they're
Yes, that's
so
what I'm talking
vocal
Well,
about
you-
their
you know,
nastiness.
like, I'm on Reddit and shit.
Yeah,
and
me too.
Yeah, I see people...
I love Reddit.
I see people... Like, it's like... It was like the second Billie Eilish became of age, for example.
I know. All
like,
of her
the
nudes leaked.
day...
I know.
Not even her... I don't even know if she has nudes.
No, yeah. The only reason I know that is because I looked her up on Reddit, and that was the top like 70 search results.
Really?
Yeah, because I was trying to find a song that she did, and I couldn't remember the title, and I was already on Reddit, so I looked her up, and that was like literally.
I've learned that you got to be careful.
You gotta
man.
be
You
careful
can
on Reddit.
You could type in just like...
hot dogs, and it'll come up.
Yeah, dude, it's just porn.
Yeah.
Porn. You're
Or it's
oh,
like
God.
a split open penis. And
Yeah,
you're just
dude,
like, ah!
yeah, so you've seen that shit too, man.
Our 50-50 was like a game we played growing up.
I don't know what that... Oh, okay, yeah. 50-50.
That shit's crazy.
That is ruined
Some lives.
some high searches for me.
Oh, dude. Oh,
I've just been high vibing before,
Yeah.
just like, I'm in a good mood, and I type something in, and then, like, not even on... I'm not even subscribed to the 50-50 page.
Oh, I'm not either.
I'll type something in on the search bar, though, and then it'll be like 50-50, and you know it's a blurred out image because it's not
Yeah,
safe
because that's
for
the
work.
point. Yeah.
And so then I'm like, oh, God damn it. Do I want to click on it? Because it's either a cute kitten or a mangled person. Do
Yes.
I want to click on it? I'm like, cute kitten.
It's always a mangled person.
It's always a mangled person.
Always. The most depraved things that well...
I don't even want to talk about the worst shit that I've seen on Reddit.
Omegle is worse. I've seen worse on Omegle.
I mean,
100%.
Omegle is mostly just dicks, though.
No.
What?
I've seen something far worse on Omegle.
What?
It made
You
me...
should have called the cops.
Yes. It
Did
made
you?
me cry.
Oh, shit. How old were you? Was this a couple weeks ago?
No, I was 16, 17.
I mean, still, yeah. I knew you then.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it was enough to where I never got on after that because it scarred me for life.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been on probably since I was like 16 or 17.
Yeah. Reddit is similar. The one thing about Reddit is they've gotten a lot better now. They used to,
as far as the mods go, yeah.
Yeah, they used to be like 4chan.
Oh, yeah. Again,
Terrible
Our boy Dreading has done videos.
I love Dreading.
Reddit.
Yeah. No, I know.
And
I know.
homeboy, can't remember his name now.
Blame it on Jorge.
No.
He's good too.
No.
Nexpo?
No. I'm talking about the Reddit. No. Nexpo's good. But
Yeah.
no, I'm talking about the guy who was a pretty big mod for Reddit, but he was running like jailbait subreddits and shit.
That's like the whole Lake City Quiet Pills thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because he was attached to that, I think.
Yes, but the Lake City Quiet Pills, that was just like a
That
fun
was the old
story.
guy.
Well,
Yeah.
no, I mean, that was just like a made up...
Pretty
that was
much.
all fake.
Yeah.
That was all fake. This fucker, the guy that they did a video on, this dude was legit running pages that like it was
so
like
disgusting.
jailbait pages, man.
So disgusting.
And enough of Reddit raised an uproar about him. I was like, dude, you have got to moderate these fucking moderators.
Yeah.
Like, this is not okay.
No.
And he finally got shut down for it.
So Reddit went and cleared out a lot of the NSFW content, which is great. But
Absolutely.
They're used to
Tumblr did the same thing.
Tumblr did it better than Reddit, though.
Because Yahoo bought Tumblr,
Right.
and Yahoo sent their fucking team in and eradicated that
Yes.
shit.
It was like overnight. All that was going
I don't even think porn exists on Tumblr anymore.
No. Not because I've gone looking for it, because... But...
We've got to know about this stuff.
Well, no, because people that I used to follow, like friends of mine, would repost stuff like that.
Right.
And that all went away.
Yeah.
Reddit, though, I literally watched someone commit suicide, which really scarred me for a long time.
I did too, but the one that I watched was from New Zealand. And she was like 70-something-year-old woman.
Oh, see, this
laying
was...
in bed, and she drank the assisted suicide drink, and she just peacefully went to sleep.
See, that's way nicer than what I
Believe
saw.
me, I've seen some fucked up shit.
Yeah.
I saw the dude with the IR-15. Did you see that one?
No, I don't. No.
Yeah.
That sounds... Although, I did see the sand jar video on Reddit. You know what I'm talking about?
Sand jar? The mason jar guy?
Yeah.
You know he's on TikTok now.
Wait, this might not be the same person.
The mason jar guy. The guy who squats down, you never see his face, you just see his ankles and his ankle tattoo, and then he puts a mason jar in his ass and it shatters.
Yes. Okay.
And he bleeds anally.
Yeah.
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 He's on TikTok now.
Wow.
He's trying to make a TikTok come up. Still doesn't show his face, and a lot of his TikTok bits... Don't even know how I stumbled upon him.
That's crazy.
Genuinely, I think he came up just on my random feed while I was scrolling through, and it was like, do you recognize these ankles and tattoo?
Oof.
And then it was a towel with a mason jar sitting on it, and I was like, there's no fucking way. And I clicked on his page. It's him.
I just thought he had died from that whole incident.
No, he's kicking.
Wow.
He's walking around.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let me put out a little disclaimer that we...
What a weird fucking start to this. Keep going.
Well, this is not content we normally consume or talk about, really. This is, in a really odd way, sort of nostalgic in the fact that we grew up in a generation where shock videos were sort of like the mainstream form of, like, getting your friends. That happened a lot for us.
I'm old enough. I'm 27.
Yeah, I mean, we're 3 years apart.
Right. But, like... when I was like that was a big thing.
Oh, I know,
like,
you had
Two Girls,
goatsy and
One
all
Cup,
that. Yeah,
like,
I
all
mean, me
that
too.
shit.
I had that too. I
It
remember
gets passed down.
it does. I remember I got sent a random URL from. I'm gonna say it. Fuck it. I got sent a random URL from a worship leader
No.
at the church that I used to play at.
Oh, say his name. Don't do that. Just
Not going to. I'm thinking it.
air him out.
And he, it was the horse video.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's something I would love to forget, but that is tattooed on my brain.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
How did we get here from Jenna Ortega?
Well, okay, so let's circle back to
That's what I'm saying, man.
we rabbit trail a lot.
We have got to start taking fucking medicine or something. We cannot fucking stay on track, dude.
I think both of us have undiagnosed ADHD.
Have to. If literally we could show a psychiatrist these videos. I'm doing it right now.
Yes.
Jenna Ortega.
Okay. We're going to get through that segment real quick.
Okay. Fuck yes, man.
So, the reason that I dislike Jenna Ortega is because even as recently as a year or 2 years ago, horrible acting.
Okay.
She gets cast in Wednesday,
Right.
which blows her up,
Yep.
which is a role that requires zero emotion. You basically are a mannequin that has to fit the pre-notion of what Wednesday Addams is, which is just an emotionless, gothic, psychopathic
That's got to be
teenager.
a hard role to play, though.
Does it? Because all you have to do is not do anything.
Have you ever been on set and tried not to laugh? And then when the laughing starts, it's hard to stop?
Yeah.
And then your whole job is to never show emotion?
Yeah, but here's the difference, though. On a big set like that, they're not fucking around. There's too much money involved.
It doesn't fucking matter how big the set is.
Yes, to an extent.
Humans are humans, man.
Problem is time is money, especially in that industry.
Okay.
Maybe more so than some other industries.
And I agree 100%. But at the same time, you can't say that, like, listen, actors are people, and people
Yes.
have emotions, and people
Yes.
find things funny, and people laugh, and people break
Yeah.
character. I don't care how big the set is. That does happen.
Of course, and I'm sure that it happened plenty on Wednesday. I'm not denying that. All that I'm saying is that as a role goes, you could not have cherry-picked a better role for a Disney or an ex-Disney Channel actor because it's so straightforward. All of the writing is 1, 2, 3, punch. And
I only watched the first 2 episodes of that show anyway. So
Wednesday?
I'm not batting for Wednesday.
So,
I'm just saying, if I was in that role, there's no way I could have done it because I would have fucking laughed way too much.
And
You've seen me on
too.
set.
Me too, though.
Yeah, you've seen me on set.
Yeah.
On theater, I can...
Yeah, you can rein it in.
I can
That's
rein it
because
in and
there's
knock
an
it out.
audience
Right.
perception of
Right.
what's happening.
I can rein it in, knock it out. On fucking set, though,
Yeah.
can we get a fucking reshoot, please?
Yeah. Which, I'm not going to lie, if you worked with any other director, that would probably be a big problem.
I'm sure it would.
But you'll get there.
I'm sure it would.
For this is my worry with Jenna Ortega. She's becoming really famous really quickly, and the biggest problem, especially with people who team up with Netflix or Marvel or honestly any Disney property at this point, is that they get funneled into a certain archetype as a character, and that's what they continue to play on and on and on. And I'm terrified that we're going to have a bunch of young people idolizing Jenna Ortega for her acting abilities, and her acting abilities are basically just showing up and not doing anything but reading her lines.
I think we will see if that's true here
Yes.
soon.
It's a
Because
prediction.
She's in Scream 6.
Which, don't even get me started. This is another reason why I wanted to bring this up.
Make the Scream movies until I die.
Are
Are you about to say they're overdone?
I am a diehard Scream fan.
Because that's my favorite slasher film.
Me too.
It's Scream.
Because I respect Wes Craven so much. But
Right.
he's dead and has nothing to do with this movie.
He might not have anything to do with the movies anymore, but at the same time, it's not...
Name one of those instances that have gone well. One.
Okay, you put me on the... If you gave me, like, a solid...
Okay, let's name a couple. They're few and far between of the ones where director dies and then sequels continue to come out.
So you know more directors than me, man. This is not a game for me to play.
Well, okay, let's just give a fictional example, and then we'll play off of that. So, fictional example... Okay, actually, never mind. Real example. Stanley Kubrick wrote AI, Artificial Intelligence, which is a movie with Jude Law and the kid from The Sixth Sense.
Jude Law's great.
Jude Law's great. And everyone says AI is okay as a movie. Okay. Minimum. It's mediocre.
Right.
Directed by Steven Spielberg. Stanley Kubrick, before he died, said, I think Steven Spielberg is the only person that could maybe do this film. Movie comes out. It's very obviously a Spielberg movie, not a Stanley Kubrick film anymore. Hugely different. Hugely different. And I don't think that can really be underestimated because Stanley Kubrick was such an auteur, and Steven Spielberg, while I think he had auteurship at a point, has become very Ron Howard in the way that he makes popcorn films. Now, AI probably was the start of that. What I'm worried about is that Jenna Ortega is going to be in a bunch of films that might do well at the box office, and she might carry a name for a while, but that there's a lot of young up-and-coming actresses and actors that are going to idolize her in a totally misguided sense.
Or, let me give you the flip on that.
Okay. Yeah.
All right? Let me give you the flip on that. So, you are judging Jenna Ortega based on previous work, which is fair.
Yeah.
Beyond fair.
You put it out.
It's the only thing you can judge her on.
Yes.
Name one production she's been in that's even worthy of casting judgment, though. Because essentially she's been a B-list actress and is just now making a name for herself. So the way that I see it is she took the roles that she needed to take.
Yeah.
She did what she needed to do.
Yeah.
And I would do the same. And now she has the spotlight, which means now she has the opportunity to actually do what she wants to do, act the way she wants to act, and really make a name for herself. So she can either fuck it up, which is very possible, and maybe she is bad. She can either fuck it up, or she's given the opportunity and can really take hold of it, and she could potentially be another big name. And I would rather see that happen. I like her personality. I watched her when Sean Evans interviewed her on Hot Ones. I thought she was funny, charismatic. It made me appreciate her more. Because I was not a fan of Wednesday. Nothing against her. It's just not my... I love horror and everything, but Wednesday is just, like the Addams Family is a little too, on the nose for me.
Funny gothic horror.
Right, and I'm not...
We've talked about gothic horror is a byproduct of English writing, which tends to be very dry.
And I'm cool with dry, though, but something about Addams Family has never jived with me. I appreciate it for,
I liked the original show a lot.
But, I don't want to judge her based on past work, and I don't want to fault her for catching the spotlight, because I think that now the spotlight could project her into higher realms, higher roles.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to get those high-hitting roles, man. It's hard to get those.
It's nearly impossible. That's actually sort of another whole wing to this, is that... I have to be careful with my words here a little bit. Let's use Weinstein as an example.
Wow. Okay. Careful with my words. Let's use Weinstein as an example.
I'm not using it as a good example. I'm just using it as a legitimate example.
Okay.
Which is that Miramax is Harvey Weinstein.
Okay. I did not know that, actually.
Oh, yeah. He was Actually, I think he was the CEO of that company.
Fair enough. Yeah. What a real piece of shit.
Yeah, well, so it's really interesting, especially if you listen to people like... who was the guy from Clerks?
Which one? Silent Bob?
Yeah. Why can't I not remember this? I love him. Kevin Smith.
Yeah, Kevin Smith.
So Kevin Smith has talked a lot about it. Quentin Tarantino has talked a lot about it. So has Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. Because they all worked for Miramax for a very long time. What I'm worried about is that the old Hollywood system didn't die with Harvey Weinstein getting sent to jail. Problem is, I think that Jenna Ortega is being ushered in to the same exact mentality. And you see it a lot with these young actresses, specifically actresses, because they're so much easier to take advantage of as cash cows. It doesn't matter about, I mean, it does matter, obviously, but all the Me Too stuff could almost take a back seat to the main problem, which is that they hire these attractive young women, they put them in any role that they can, because it will generate funds from a certain demographic, which is normally young feminists. And what it ends up being is sort of this like movement of like, we're going to rally behind this one specific person. We're going to generate a lot of box office revenue. And on the end of it, we have a lot of movies that are totally unmemorable, but generate a lot of funds. Which, to me, what that does is it sort of like saturates the system with garbage, and then it's much harder to find movies or actual art that needs to be in the spotlight to legitimize the art form. That's what my problem is. It's all the detractors of the legitimacy of filmmaking.
Man, a part of me feels like you're just looking at what has happened and have the fear of it happening again. And maybe you're seeing things that I'm not seeing. But the only thing that I'm seeing is somebody who happened to land a role that nobody would know that it was going to blow up. Okay, Wednesday is one of those shows where it could have very easily
It could have flopped.
It could have very easily.
Yes.
So I don't think it was like she was handed this cherry-picked golden role, because it very easily could have backfired.
The character
fits her.
Not just fits her, but fits the socio-political sphere at the moment.
You think?
Yes, because if you look at what the young people of today are interested in, it's very different than what we grew up enjoying.
Okay. A good example, which involves Jenna Ortega, was Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah. Yeah.
You saw that.
Yeah.
Aubrey Plaza played April Ludgate.
Nearing 40 now.
Looks wonderful.
Does. But I think it's interesting that they put those two together.
They put them together because they have such similar personas.
Yeah, but that's because Aubrey Plaza is aging out. That's why.
There's no fucking way she's aging out, dude.
She is. That's why.
No,
what
not
has she
at
been?
all.
What has she been cast in the past 2 years?
She was just in that show on Netflix.
I know, and she looked old in that show.
Did she?
Yeah.
Not
saying that there's anything wrong with that.
I didn't watch it, but
it's just that like it's Hollywood still. There is still. You have to be attractive. You have to fit a certain mold.
I don't think they're gonna weasel Aubrey Plaza. There's no way How old's Aubrey Plaza? 35?
I'll look it up. Just
35?
To be sure. I'm about to find out.
Because she's on Parks and Rec. She plays April Ludgate, and she but she plays the like low key, edgy kind of like.
She's 38 years old.
Rebellious. That's not old at all, dude. We're casting fucking Brad Pitt. He's like 56.
I said bordering 40. But for women, it is
different.
It's sooner.
Different. I know, it's different.
If we're going to get to like the antithesis of my argument against Jenna Ortega.
I would love to get there. Because I want to know where the hate stems from.
The hate stems from the mediocre acting. That's really what it is. even if you look at people like Millie Bobby Brown, you look at people like Tom Holland, for instance, there is a
wonderful actor.
There is a certain amount of intangibility that comes along with them. There's a je ne sais quoi about the way in which they deliver things, and not only deliver, but present in a physical form.
What have you watched of Tom Holland that's not Spider-Man?
One of my favorite things was the Studio Ghibli film that he was in.
Was he in it?
He was a voice actor, for one. I also liked the Uncharted movie, and no one liked that movie.
I haven't watched it yet, and I really want to, just because
I was a fan of the games.
Yeah, I mean, like, I like the games.
Yeah.
I need to watch it. It's just, I got a kid. It's hard to watch movies when you have a kid. But
Yeah.
I like Tom Holland.
Holland's great.
And even
But
you
even
know,
he
I'm
got
not a fan.
typecast.
I'm not a fan of the Marvel movies.
Not at all.
A couple of them are good. Don't
And we
get
can
me
transition
wrong.
into that next.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Marvel has a place. It's just
It did have a place. That's how I would qualify that statement.
I agree. 5 years ago.
Yes.
It
Maybe
has
even
quickly
longer.
gone
The first Avengers movie was 2012.
down. Son of a bitch, are you serious?
Yes, I was 11. No, I was 14 when that came out.
I was gonna say
I wasn't 11.
Fucking 11.
I was 14 when that came out.
Yeah. So, all right. Listen, the Marvel movies have a place. They used to be good.
Iron
Now
Man was 2009. Let that sink in for a second.
I was 14.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I was 14 for that one.
It's outstayed its welcome.
You fucked me up a little bit.
Sorry, go ahead.
You broke my heart. No, I mean, man, listen, those types of movies, I don't fault, like, they have a presence. I just don't think they should be the pedestal. I don't think the popcorn movies should be what people strive for, because they're just cash grabs at a certain point.
But how different is the Jenna Ortega stuff to that? That's what my point is.
There's a huge difference.
I don't believe so.
Absolutely there is.
How much of a difference would you say there is between Stranger Things and a Disney Cinematic Universe TV show?
Are you asking me which one's better?
No, I'm asking legitimately what you feel the differences are.
I think the difference is mainly storyline. Like,
yeah,
Stranger
writing.
Things
it's writing.
Has significantly better writing. I have genuinely teared up and felt emotion while watching Stranger Things. The only time
was
I've
season
ever
3.
teared up watching a Marvel movie was my boy Robert Downey
dying in the last Avengers film.
And I did. I can't help it. I teared up a little bit.
No, me too.
Because I was just like, I knew it was coming because of all the spoilers, but when I watched it, I'm one of those people, and I know you are too, like, we get so enveloped in the film that anything we've ever heard or anything we've ever felt disappears, and now I only hear and feel what that character hears and feels.
We're the exact same.
My life is no longer a thing at a point. Now, granted, you get what I'm saying. I don't have to explain it, but you get what I'm saying. Like, I just, I mean, I know it seems goofy, but whenever fucking Tom Holland was leaned over him, because whenever Tom Holland disappeared and floated away, that was heartbreaking. But whenever he was sitting there and was like, you can't go.
This is like,
fuck.
This is when I wish that every cinematic universe had as good a MacGuffin as Dragon Ball, because you just bring everyone back to life if you go look at Dragon Balls.
Right, never teared up during Dragon Ball.
No, because you knew they were coming back.
Yeah, they're gonna come back
eventually.
Yeah. You watch one season of Dragon Ball, you know everybody's coming back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Except for
Krillin got ripped apart.
I was about
Frieza.
to say except for Krillin. They took a while to get him back.
I mean, that one did make me a little sad.
Yeah.
I have a special place in my heart for Krillin.
Yeah, because he's just a sad boy
He's
like,
a sad
deep
boy.
down.
He's a sad boy, and what I love about Krillin, not that we're gonna spin this into another Dragon Ball conversation. What I love about Krillin is he knows he's gonna get fucked up.
Yeah, but he still tries.
Dude, he will give it 110%. He will get ripped apart for you.
Can we have a small side tangent?
Small segment.
I have fallen in love with a new anime.
Oof.
Baki.
Okay. Baki?
Yeah, dude.
That sounds like something I would order.
Baki the Grappler. I love it.
What is it?
So it's all about a 13-year-old who
Okay.
his dad is 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 the best fighter in the world. And his mom knows that, but his dad is possessed by like a demon. And he has what's called the demon back, because his back is so shredded that it looks like a demon's mouth. And they're at constant war with each other. So Baki's whole mission is to become the best mixed martial artist in the world, because he wants to take on his own father. It's really cool because the entire anime is sort of like One Punch Man in the way that it's all about physical fitness and striving to be your best. And it's entirely too motivating for me. I will literally watch it and just do push-ups the whole episode, because it's like, I can't.
How many push-ups do you do a day?
A day, probably like 150, roughly. I do about 10 sets of 25 push-ups per set.
It's 250.
Okay, so that.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You do 250 a day.
I normally start at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I don't quit until about midnight, as far as that goes. You already know this, but I just got back on the keto diet. Yeah. And I'm full
diet.
Mediterranean at the moment.
I did the keto diet a year ago. I did it for 6 months straight. Super strict.
You dropped an amount of weight that I was uncomfortable seeing you.
Really?
Low. Yeah.
I still had a lot of body fat on me.
It reminded me.
I think it's just because you've never seen me in that shape.
No, I
was in that
really
shape
young.
in high school.
I was about to say, real young. I've seen pictures of you looking like that.
Right.
But the difference is you had the baby face, and you were like... There's a certain amount of age appropriateness that comes along with that. You know what? I'll vent some of my own dirty laundry. I was anorexic for years.
Right.
And went and saw...
So you were scared that I was developing...
No, because you don't realize
Because I heard
it.
that from a lot of people.
You don't realize it. And I'm not saying you. I'm saying globally.
Right.
People don't realize how slippery of a slope it is. I got to the point where I was like fainting every time I stood up, because I would eat one meal every other day. So I would have a 48-hour fast.
I got to that point on keto.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
Healthy.
I wasn't fainting, but if I stood up too quickly,
yeah,
it would go black for a second, and it would come back immediately. I'd be like, oh.
See that? So I didn't realize
that wasn't keto. That was I should have been.
Yeah, you should have etten more. You should have had.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have been calorically deficient the way that you were.
Right.
But I only say it because...
But I went from 210 to 160, and that's pretty good.
Oh, it's incredible. The lowest I ever got was 140, and you could see every bone in my body.
That's light. Unless you have the frame for it. Like, unless you're just born that way, like, that's light.
To give... I'm 5'10".
Like Trevor. Trevor probably is 140. But he has the frame for 140.
Whereas I have this big...
Greek
upper body.
You have the frame for 165. You would look good and healthy.
Yes.
And stout.
Yes. Whereas when I dropped to 140...
Skeletor.
I'm telling you, you could literally, like... I was so frail that you could see, like, veins and organs through my skin.
Yeah, see,
it was wrong.
Nah.
It was bad.
Nah.
I was wearing size 30 jeans, which I haven't ever done in my entire life.
When I was on keto, I was wearing 31s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again.
But I wasn't not eating. I was eating a lot.
You were eating a ton.
I was eating a lot. The problem was, I think my main issue was...
I'm not even saying that that's what your issue was. I'm just saying that, like...
It made you uncomfortable because it made you think about...
Yes.
Your...
It triggered me in a very, like, a psychological sense because I felt...
It triggered you.
Yeah, because I felt from you the presence that I had when I was in that mentality.
Of like, I need to more. I need to be less.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's an addiction at a certain point.
It is. I was very strict. That's what I say. Like, I was very strict. And that's what most people who are close to me, their main issue that they said was just like, man, you were so strict, you wouldn't live a little. Like, you
I don't
do
even care
anything.
about that.
But
Strictness
it's like, man,
is good.
I think that.
Yeah.
I have to stay strict. Otherwise,
Yes.
I'm the type of person where if I break a little bit, I break a lot.
Oh, you and me are identical in that.
If I break a little bit, I break a lot.
Yes.
And so okay, so whereas a lot of people, let's just use peanut butter jellies, for example.
Yeah.
A lot of people, if they were trying to eat healthy, they would try to have this variety menu. They want this variety of food. If I knew that peanut butter jelly is all I needed, I would eat that 3 times a day, every day.
You and
that
me
was
are
it.
identical with that. I don't know why, but that is one place where you and me match up. 100%.
I need fucking head on consistency.
Me too.
As far as diet goes.
As far as diet goes, that is exactly how I am as well.
I don't like options.
On top of that,
so options, I get anxious and I'm like, I don't know.
I'll just give you my full schedule.
Just give me a cracker.
So back then, and this was when I was like 16 to 19 or 20. This was my daily schedule. I would wake up. I would go for a 3-mile run. I would come home. I would eat breakfast if it wasn't my off day. So every other day I would eat breakfast. And that breakfast would consist of one sandwich because I realized that I could put veggies, meat, carbohydrates, a little bit of sugar from like a sauce, and I could have like an apple on the side as like my side option. And that I would do that every other day. And I averaged about 5,000 calories a week. So
5,000 calories a week?
Because my sandwiches were about...
Out of 7 days?
Yes. Yeah.
Buddy.
Because my sandwiches were maybe 500 calories a piece. And then the apples that I was eating had a little bit of caloric intake and a little bit of carbohydrate, a little bit of natural sugar, but it was mostly vitamins. So it got to the point where I had to start apologizing to my friends because I had such violent mood swings because my brain just didn't have
right. Well,
anything.
You don't have nutrients.
None. My hair started falling out in clumps, but I was so sick that I couldn't tell myself not to do it. It got to the point where even the apples that I was eating, I would gag when I put something in my mouth because it was so foreign to eat, period. Like I almost threw up because of not eating. Not only that, but it started when I worked at Chick-fil-A. I would get grilled nuggets because every single shift you were allowed to have one meal. And that would be my one meal a day. So it started with me getting like a 12-count of nugget.
I was going to ask, could you order anything on the menu?
Yeah.
So like either an 8-count or a 12-count?
Yeah. So I get a 12-count of grilled nuggets, and by the time I got home, I would force myself to throw up because I felt so heavy just from eating a 12-count of grilled nuggets. And that lasted for the 2.5 years that I worked at Chick-fil-A. Then after that is when I started working at Vape Crazy with you, and that was when I got really into the anorexia because I would only drink water or coffee or green tea because those were all the fat burners that I knew of.
So crazy that you never notice that stuff because I worked with you for years and I never...
The only person that ever knew, I think, was Wes because he commented several times that he'd never seen me eat anything in the entire time that we worked together.
Wes does notice stuff like that. Yeah. Wes is a smart cat, man.
Yeah. All I know is that for me it was very unhealthy, and the day that I decided that I wasn't going to do it anymore and just started eating cookout and having fun with my food again was like in 2018, 2017. That was about the best I had ever felt in my life because I had given myself back calories enough to feel like a person again.
Yeah.
Because I had been living in like a fog for like 5 years at that point.
Yeah, that's rough, dude.
Yeah. And I don't talk about it a whole lot because I don't want to play the victim. I would rather be a strong individual. I don't want people to be sympathetic towards me.
I get it.
But that was one thing that made me like, I was like crippled by it.
Yeah.
To the point where I'd sacrifice my own joy and happiness hanging out with friends or doing anything that I cared about in order to work out more, just because I wanted to fit a standard. And the standard that I was trying to fit was unattainable. But the only thing I did all day long was look at male models on Tumblr. I just wanted to be like them. That was all that I wanted.
Gay.
I'm just kidding. I just wanted to be, this is the thing.
No,
I grew up as a fat kid.
Me too.
I weighed 225 at 11 years old. And that was way too much for like a 5'4" tiny young individual.
I didn't weigh that much, but I remember being on the school bus, and I won't say her name.
Yeah.
But I'll just say her initials are JC. And
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, man, Jesus came down. Like, dude, why are you such a little fat fuck? I was on the school bus, dude, and I stood up to like get off at my stop.
Yeah.
And like accidentally bumped into somebody's leg.
Yeah.
And I really wasn't even that fat. I was a normal chubby kid. You know what I mean? Like not even that
And
fat.
that's normal for that age, but no one tells you that.
Right. And like I accidentally bumped into her leg, and this girl looked at me and she was like, if you weren't so fat, that wouldn't happen.
That sticks with you forever.
I still think about it.
That never leaves.
Never.
Yeah.
I've talked to her since then.
Yeah.
She's a good person, man. She's a mother now. She's a good person.
I'm sure. But at that age, no one's a good person. Everyone's a piece of shit.
I want to say her name. I want to be like, that's you.
But you're not gonna.
I'm not gonna.
Jessica Christie.
How the fuck did you know?
I'll
send it. I'll clip this. I'll send it to her.
Did I get it right?
No.
Okay, good. Yeah.
I don't know anybody that name.
Yeah, I don't either.
It's
two first names.
Outside of Las Vegas.
Deja Vu in Nashville, shouts out.
Oh, yeah. Shout out my sister.
From the Laverne Police Squad.
No.
Oh, yeah, your sister-in-law.
What do you think about that, though? So, now she's suing.
Is she really?
Yeah.
I didn't hear about that.
You didn't see that? Yeah, the cop is suing the rest of them.
For what? Slander? Because it's not.
No. And I don't want to talk shit. So I'm going to stop you while you're ahead. I don't want to talk shit because
about the Laverne Police Department, because we go to Laverne's so often.
just about her, because I don't know her situation, but the way that she's explaining it is she was never like she was a willing participant.
Yeah, I would only imagine that's the case.
But because
you work at the police department, if it was anything but that, you would have filed a report.
That's what I said. But see, that's what I said. That's my struggle with this. Is because what she says is she felt pressured.
She's trying to bring everybody down with her.
That's what I said, man. That's what I fucking said. I'm trying to be cool about this, I'm trying to understand her side, but at the same time, I'm like, you're a fucking cop.
I get that polygamy has become sort of a fad nowadays. However, there's a certain amount.
You are the one profession that is supposed to understand how to handle a situation.
Yeah.
If you're a cop, you should know how to handle a situation.
Also, just like listening to enough police stuff and like true crime things, there's no amount of pressure that will keep a fellow officer from reporting something.
Not true.
Explain.
True.
Go ahead.
Not true. Do you remember?
No, I'm interested.
Do you remember? Okay. Perfect example of when a cop should have acted and didn't.
Okay.
Do you remember? I don't even want to bring this up, honestly. R.I.P. The school shooting.
Which one?
When the cops were wow, that's the sad part.
Unfortunately.
Which one? I want to say it was in Florida. I could be very wrong, and I apologize in advance if I'm extremely wrong.
Maybe an even worse thing to say, Florida, unsurprising. I think there have been multiple school shootings in Florida.
It was the one where the cops did not go in And the only time they did go in was to go save their own personal children.
Yeah.
Bring them out. But
Wrong.
they could have went
wrong.
in and stopped the gunman. They didn't fucking do it.
That's wrong.
They didn't fucking do it. And there were several police officers outside of that school. None of them fucking went in to go stop the active shooter.
That's wrong. But
people are human at the end of the day. And
yes.
so that's where I try to like there's a part of me that's like, okay, you're a cop, you should know how to handle your business, but at the same time you are a human, and if somebody is pressuring you, and if somebody is putting their power over you and promising you a promotion or whatever, if they're using their power to make you feel like this is something that you should do,
well, obviously that's wrong.
That's wrong.
That's coercion, and that is
it's manipulation, it's coercion, it's a lot.
But specifically from an officer, that's a federal offense,
right?
So
that's her argument, is because it was all higher ups. When you look at the list of people that she slept with, it wasn't like a beat cop. It wasn't somebody who's, driving a cop car, doing traffic stops.
It's getting more difficult the more you explain it.
The more you explain it, the more you dive into the case file, the harder it is to develop just a quick
Here's the one thing
opinion
that I think disproves some of that. Is that her husband came out and said that he not only knew about it, but that he was okay with it. Like they had a conversation about that happening.
Maybe it was, hey, I can get a raise. If I just
even still, okay. So let's take an example from fiction, The Office, where Meredith is receiving free steak coupons.
Yeah, free steak.
It's the same situation. Same situation.
Yeah.
She should have gotten fired. Any real corporation, she would have gotten fired. And no one is saying in that episode. And, I understand that this is removed by quite a few years. But in that episode, no one was blaming the steak salesman who was giving her the coupons and sleeping with her. They blame her, and it's not because of any agenda. It's not because it's an old boys social club or anything like that. It's because she so nonchalantly accepted the agreement without any pushback. There was no sense of self-preservation. There was no sense of shame because of the event or ordeal. And I doubt that there would have been for this woman unless she had been taken into the spotlight. And I think the reason that she is backtracking now is because it's such a public case.
And that was something else that I had thought about as well. You got to think about all of these things, right?
Unfortunately,
it's
it's not a binary issue.
Nothing is cut and dry.
No, there's a lot of gray area. All that I can say though is that I've had confrontations. Yeah, we'll say confrontations with Laverne police officers before. Real cool people. They took care of me well. I didn't go to jail or anything like that, but probably should have gotten a ticket.
Respectable people.
They let me off because they were willing to have a conversation with me on the side of the road.
Well, you were probably also willing to have a conversation with them.
Yeah, because I respect their authority. I'll just put it this way. My uncle, person I respect a lot, Uncle Howie, SWAT officer, started as beat cop, spent over 25 years in local police force, and is now teaching active shooter training across the country to schools and police agencies. Reason that I respect him so much is because he is the least bullshitter out of anyone I've ever met. He will only tell it to you straight, and he will only ever give you the self-respect and decency that you deserve. Because if you don't take it for yourself, no one else is going to give it to you. Problem is, if you make a mistake and you cover it with excuses, you're branded as a liar forever.
Yeah.
And I can't see her any other way at this point.
Yeah.
And that's a cop mentality. That's not my opinion necessarily. That's wisdom that's been passed down to me from a police officer. from someone who understands that environment and that world probably better than anyone, and rose through the ranks because he was an exceptional cop. His son's one of the youngest detectives in the Washington, D.C. area. Like, it's a lineage of great police work. And I'm really, really enthused just to be able to even talk about him. This woman is disgracing everything that those people work for, because she's backtracking on a story that, to be perfectly honest, seems like something that she was not only implicit in, but also was okay with up until public scrutiny really began to come into play.
I agree to a point.
Okay, what's the point? Where's the hard line for you? Just out of curiosity. We don't have to go too deep into this. I'm asking more out of curiosity.
I'm fine with going as deep as you want. I mean, for me, so the way I see it is...
And let's be clear. This is not a new thing. And for anyone who's not heard about this...
Right, yeah, no.
Because it's local for us.
Right,
like
yeah.
It made national news, but it's local.
Yeah,
as far as we're
concerned.
concerned.
It's like right down the road from here.
Like, we could probably be in her precinct within 20 minutes.
20 minutes easy.
This is like 4 or 5 months old at this point.
So the way I think about it is you could put up with something because you feel like you have to put up with it.
Yeah.
Right? For so long.
I've done that at jobs before.
And so have I. You could put up with something that you know is wrong. And I've even done that. I know this is wrong, but it's easier for me to ignore it or just accept it.
And unfortunately, it's
because
mostly,
nothing's going to change.
No, it's policy. It's standard of practice mostly, SOP stuff.
So, you can put up with something for so long, and then once it breaks, maybe,
yeah,
maybe that felt like freedom to her. And maybe she was like, now that it's out there, now that it's open, I don't have to just go along with it anymore. I don't have to act like I'm okay with it anymore.
Yeah.
Because I'm not okay
I totally
with
get that.
I'm not okay with it. I did this because I felt like I had to, and I felt like it would advance me in my career. Maybe it's as simple as that. Is like, now that the story has broke, it's like a weight lifted off of her shoulders.
Yeah.
And she's like, now, because all the hate wasn't directed towards any of the men.
No, well, yes, that's true. Me personally, though, I direct equal hate towards the men.
Okay, but you're one in one, because it wasn't directed towards the men at all. It was all directed towards her.
Can I say one thing real quick?
Every single fucking mean thing was directed towards her.
Yes.
Which is wrong.
I only want to clarify this because I feel like I've been a little bit
mean
towards her. Yeah, a little bit. I equally blame the male officers, because as a married person, I would hope...
The fact that they're her hierarchy, if they were on the same plane as her, I would blame them equally. But the fact that they are above her, I blame them more.
Well, you know what? And I might even be convinced to blame them more as well.
Keep your fucking officers in line.
Yeah. Well,
that's your job.
What I was going to say, though, is that they specifically hold more blame, in my opinion. You know what? I'll say for now they hold equal blame. And until my opinion is really confirmed.
That's the beautiful thing about conversation, is it forces you to think more about a situation.
Yeah, true.
I see it developing right now.
Yeah.
I love that.
So, for me, what I'll say, and this is just personal opinion, is that she, regardless of if she was coerced or not, into these things, the men that were above her and herself should have respected the marriage that was there first and foremost.
100%.
And if it wasn't agreed upon for all of what happened to take place, then they're all equally responsible. And it doesn't matter what the hierarchy is, because at the end of the day, we're humans and we're primal, and there is no difference between that and a hookup at a bar. That's the distinction, in my mind, is that you either make the choice to cheat, and either your partner's okay with it or not. and then you have the cheater. You have the person that you cheated with. They hold an equal obligation because they're aware of what they're doing. It's like participating in a crime. You might be just by association. You might get charged. Right, but here's the thing. Unless you were lied to up until the point of the crime, you knew what was happening. And the fact that you decided against better judgment to proceed, that's the problem. It's not to do with the thing itself. Yeah. It's the judgment of the people implicated in the problem to begin with. And I think all of them have equal responsibility in the implication. Which is why it's so difficult to really have any rational conversation about this, because it isn't a one-sided issue. It's not a feminist issue. It's not a police issue. It's sort of all-encompassing in the fact that maybe she felt, coerced into this situation. But equally so, maybe those men also thought that she was willing as a participant. And it's very difficult to walk that line in a person-to-person situation. When you're in a courtroom, you have facts. There aren't emotions involved in that because there's perjury, there's defamation, there are fines, there's monetary attachment to you fucking up.
Yeah.
However, in the real world, in the closed doors of the hallways at the police station, who knows? They may have flirted all day long, and she never meant to pursue it, but they did. And I would say that that's equally wrong because she's married, because she made a commitment up front.
No, I mean, I 100% agree that if she went back on her marriage, that's...
But that's the thing. He said that he supported it, the husband. So if that's the case, how much can you say this isn't your fault? How much can you say that you're coerced into it? Because you've had the conversation with your husband that this is an open relationship. Even if it is coercion, you did what was expected of you, in a sense. And that's not right either, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I mean,
it's a very deep conversation.
I agree. I don't know, man. I'm torn. Like I said, I'm torn. And when it comes to this specific topic, I am torn between...
It's a difficult thing to decipher.
What could be and what is. You know what I mean? Because, I'm not in her shoes. I don't know what she experienced. No. I don't know if...
And if she wanted to come on the podcast and talk to us about it, we'd be more than happy to have her.
More than happy. I don't know if it's if it was a nightmare for her.
And it could have been. I can see that just as plausibly. However, I will say,
or
the vindiction of a police officer.
That's the one that hangs me up. That's the one. If it was an office job, I would be more inclined to believe that you felt pressured. Yeah. But as an officer, it's hard for me to just 100% be like, okay.
Because I would get it if it was like a partner. Like if this was a person you were sharing the cop car with all day long. It's kind of like a work wife. You grow attachment over a period of time. However, this was like people in the agency that were not necessarily associated with her, which meant one of the two parties had to go looking.
I don't know. This. I think they were all kind of.
Well, it's a small department. Yeah, of course. But I'm saying that day to day.
Okay.
A partner or a secretary makes far more sense than these people, where you're going, oh, not only did she have a type, I mean literally, because they all look identical. They're just
except for the fact that some of them are white.
Well, no,
some of them are black.
But they're all big beefy men. They're like they have a standard of physical fitness and attribution, regardless of skin color. So when you get down to that nitty-gritty of a detail, and you look at the pattern that's forming, it's really difficult to say anything other than one of the two parties had to go looking. Either they had the type for her, or she had the type for them. And either way, it's wrong.
From whatever Grace told me, because I guess she read some of the case file or
transcripts and stuff.
Just whatever
Court
was
documents.
being said.
Yeah.
She essentially made it seem, or what she told me was, it seemed like she was okay with sleeping with some of the officers because she thought it would help her, and then like those guys, it would be like if I slept with someone and was like, hey man, I got somebody for you, like if you just say this and you do this, then you're in there too. Like it was all very fucked up.
That's like a very like that's a different issue entirely, because that's more in like the trafficking area of things. And if that's the case,
that's kind of what it seems like.
Okay, well, if that's the case, then
that's what I'm saying. That's kind of what it seems like.
If that's the case, it can't just be her. That's not a one-person game. The system is not the system in which trafficking happens is not a one-person system. It takes down multiple people.
Unless you think you can only do one person.
So, okay, let's talk about the Holtzclaw trial, since we're on this already. And this is not a true crime podcast, but I think that it's very applicable in this particular instance. So Daniel Holtzclaw was a police officer who was abusing his power. He would go around and would turn off his police radio, clock out of being a police officer, but he would still have his cop car, and he would pull people over and sexually abuse them.
I know this case.
Yeah. So he was sentenced.
Yep.
For that, right? That is, again, similar in the way that it's sort of a trafficking offense. In the way that it was multiple people, serial molester. We'll call it that.
Yeah.
He said that it was induced by steroids, heightened testosterone levels. I was going to ask
if you listened to his
defense, yeah.
Interrogation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've seen that video multiple times.
Where he was like, I slept with my wife this morning.
Right, yes.
And then they were like, well, your wife said y'all didn't have sex this morning.
Right.
And he was like, well, we did.
Yeah. Very weak statements from him, obviously. Here's the difference, though. And here's really what the crux of what I'm getting at is that he had malicious intent in which to do these things. Whereas it seems like if there was malicious intent with her and with those fellow officers, that malicious intent was never talked about until there was legal implications. And really, this is going to be a very controversial statement. It sounds like a very Amber Heard defense. And I'm not saying that Amber Heard was wrong in her defense, because I believe that her and Johnny Depp were both equally wrong in that relationship.
Who do you think was more wrong?
It's difficult to say. He was brutally honest about things that were pretty fucked up, and then he was also pretty inflammatory about things that were not so interesting. But I think he was using that sort of as like a coping mechanism throughout the entire trial. Whereas she and her family admit to her being not only a patent, but an accomplished liar throughout her entire life. Her father doing drugs with Johnny Depp, I don't think any of that really matters. I don't think that... Basically, I think that it was just a fucked up relationship, and they didn't seek counseling in the appropriate manner. This is a little bit different, but I think the defense is similar in the way that it's a lot of victimhood and misplacement of blame, and trying to get a result that's beneficial to their own defense and their own public identity.
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to blame anyone, because I don't really think that anyone is specifically at fault. I do know, however, that her throwing them under the bus cannot be the entire story there. Because I just don't think that,
Yeah, and
7 different police officers
I
would
wanna-
all
it was
fall
like
for the
6 or
same
7,
problem?
yeah.
Unless they are a ring of people who, like, coerce people throughout the police academy up into the higher ranks, which would be super fucked up and even more of a national story. I cannot imagine.
I mean, that story would never be made, though, right?
I think it would. In this day and age, I think it would.
You think?
Mostly because there's a huge audience for it.
You think if the government was somehow, even if it was on accident involved with, coercion or trafficking, that it would come out? You think they would jeopardize the entire police department?
Yeah.
Or do you think that they would
Because
sacrifice
Laverne's a small
one
police
lamb?
department anyway.
It might be a small police department, but it is the Laverne police. But what are they gonna do? They're gonna hire all new people,
No, just replace management.
right?
In
But
this
management runs the police department. You have to have police experience to know how to run the police department.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that. I know that in other cases
You can't just
people-
hire me to
No, but
run the Laverne police
They
department.
would borrow from other departments that were qualified people. It's not. There's not a shortage of police officers that are well-meaning. There's not. What there is a shortage of is people who are willing to uphold the policy and oaths that you take as a police officer. It's a very sacrificial job.
Yes, man. I don't know. It's a weird topic for me.
It is.
Man, because
It's an odd
I feel
topic.
I'm on both sides. One side of me is like, yeah, she could have just walked away if she didn't want to do it. And then the other side is like,
Well,
but
and
maybe she felt like she had to do it and couldn't walk away.
I was about to say, from a feminist perspective, which I would like to consider myself someone who can understand that perspective. I totally get how being a woman would make it really difficult to say no to big burly men who want to do something with you. That seems like a terrifying situation, and I totally can empathize with that. Pretty much every single girl that I've ever been with, I've tried to be overly courteous in a sexual setting because of the fact I know that nearly every single woman on this planet has had to deal with that kind of thing. However, there's a difference between that being 1 or 2 people and then talking to someone about it and gaining counseling and trying to repurpose your life, trying to leave the situation. I don't know that this situation would have ever stopped had she not gotten caught. That's really a big portion of this.
How did she get caught? Do you know?
I think that it was just, I think there was some sort of whistleblowing. I could be wrong, but I believe that's what happened.
Okay.
Because all I know is that it was nothing, and then one day it was on Nashville Scoop, and the next day it was on national news.
Yeah.
And I think that Nashville Scoop has a huge foothold on the subscribership of Nashville / tri-state areas. However, just because they have a large demographic of people that they're pandering towards doesn't mean that this particular situation is any less in implication towards particular parties' faults. I think that they were just reporting on a story. It had to have broken somehow. She got fired. I mean, I've not heard of any of the other people implicated being fired.
Yeah, I don't know.
And that's not... See, here's the thing. I love women, and I'm going to put this out there that I have historically had more female friends than male friends because I get along with women better than I do men. Mostly because I'm not uppity. I don't get into confrontation very often. So I can relate to and perceive what would be sort of an approximation to the female perspective on this, which is that, yeah, of course that would be fucked up. And I can totally understand, just because I myself have been in situations with men where I feel like this is not entirely safe.
Right.
And because of that, I can understand how a woman would be in the situation to go, well, this is happening. I can't do anything to change it, so I'm going to let it continue to happen. I can understand that wholeheartedly. The only issue that I have with this particular situation is that there is ample opportunity to help herself, and none of that was taken.
And that's, yeah, I mean, that's...
And I get that a certain amount of coercion and a certain amount of masculine energy could overpower that sense.
Well, that's why I say I'm split, because, like, you're a cop. Your whole job is to go into dangerous situations, and, you know, that's, like, your whole job. Like, go into dangerous situations, find your way out. And so it's just, like, I'm split between, like, I don't want to say that, like, okay, well, you know, you kind of help do it to yourself. Like, I don't want to like say that because I don't know your situation.
Right, and we don't want to go into victim blaming because that's really not part of this conversation.
That's exactly what I was trying to get at. But, like, I don't know, dude. I don't know. Nobody knows this situation except for all the people involved, and all the people involved are cops.
Right.
So it's like, who the fuck is right and who the fuck is wrong?
Well, really, the interesting part, I think, of that dynamic is who comes out gaining anything from the situation. The only people that can are the court systems, because they're the ones that are passing judgment on these people. Those are the people that are going to be able, at the end of the day, to say, this did or did not happen. They're the only people that are going to be able to sentence anyone. And they're the only people that are going to look good coming out of any of this. Her reputation's ruined. So are all the other cops implicated in this.
I mean, yeah, she's on Snapchat at this point.
None of them are coming out on top.
You know, like, you go look at your friends' stories on Snapchat. And it's like all the random videos down here.
I hate those.
They're so cringy.
They're so terrible.
Every single one of them's cringy.
Snapchat ruined itself with that.
Dude.
Yes.
It is the worst. It is like... And nowadays, all of it's over AI'd. So, like...
Oh, yeah, it's just blatantly
it'll be like,
wrong information.
It'll be like, this girl's mad about her parking ticket. And it'll be like her going... But then her mouth is this big and her eyes are this big. And it's just like, dude,
That's a filter.
What is this for? But it's not even a filter. It's like artificially done. It's it makes it look like that's her natural face when it's not. And you can clearly tell this is not... It's like Uncanny Valley. Yeah. It's like, I know that that is supposed to represent a human, but that is not...
a person.
A human. Yeah. Like... And so I saw earlier today, somebody had covered something on her about suing.
Interesting. Okay.
And that's what made me think to bring it up.
Yeah. Well, let's just leave it at this, that she obviously had her own motivations with this, whether it be financial or purely sexual. And regardless of what that motivation was, she should share equal blame to everyone else. And her getting off scot-free doesn't teach anyone a lesson as far as valuing their own selves.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you should get off scot-free.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about it. I can't think of any court of law that would find one party to be equal blame over another. In this particular case, there's too much hearsay. There's not enough physical evidence.
Unless there is.
And if that's the case...
Unless there is, and we don't know about it.
And if that's the case, then we're going to be seeing much different headlines in national news soon.
Well, that's why I'm so skeptic to just lay a hard opinion on the situation. Because originally, when it first came out, the only headline was
that she
Laverne Cobb fucked the whole squad.
Yeah.
That was the original headline. Like Laverne Cobb fucked everybody in the precinct.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, this is what my tax dollars are going towards, because they're doing it on company time, which means I'm paying
for her to
for
get
them
her
to
rocks
fuck.
off. Yeah.
So like that's the first thing you see, and then you see
Yeah.
more, and you see more, and you see more, and then you see a suit being leveraged against, and you're like, okay, I don't know what the fuck's real anymore.
Well, so that's the interesting part, I really think, is that with all the legal implication that is there at this point, there's not been a single piece of definitive anything. And the story's not really changed much, except for whatever this most recent thing from her is. But no one else is changing their story.
Not that I've seen, at least, but I also haven't delved into it.
And that's fair. That's a disclaimer we should probably put out there, is that we have not informed ourselves entirely of this. We've seen headlines and we've read articles that have come across sort of organically.
Right.
Which is like, different
today,
from...
did I look up a fucking article? Like, oh, what's the update? No.
But had we done that, I doubt we would be saying much different to what we are now.
I doubt we would have learned anything,
Yeah. Let's move on to specifically talking about Marvel, which we were doing a little bit earlier.
We were.
Let's circle back to that.
If anybody's still listening, yeah, we're gonna start talking about Marvel.
So the reason I want to circle back to that is we've kind of had a bombshell with modern cinema. As you know, I specifically really care about in a very deep, integral part of myself.
Yeah.
I believe it was the chief financial officer, the CFO, of the Disney Marvel franchise.
I like how you said chief financial officer and then specified CFO for people who don't know what CFO stands for.
Well, it's one of those things you learn in middle school and you don't really ever re-up on that.
You don't carry it with you.
I mean, not unless you have to really be in a corporate setting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I'm not sure that was who it was, but I'm pretty sure. I know that Disney does what a lot of car companies do, which is create subsidiaries in which to sort of get out of tax implications. Disney's really good at that, the way that Walmart is really good at that.
Don't even get me started on Walmart, man.
I know. It's a whole thing.
Fuck self-checkout.
Yeah. Yeah, it sucks. So this guy literally came out and said, we're not interested in fulfilling plot as much as we are bringing back characters that are loved by the fans. Which, to me, is a total bastardization of what cinema has represented forever. Because it's no longer about the
story.
Well, yeah, but even more on an ethical sense, it's no longer about the moral of the tale. It's no longer about the conclusion or the writing. It's no longer about the artistry involved in said production. It's entirely based around box office sales, monetary capitalistic gain, which is patently wrong and categorically disgusting, in my opinion.
So something to that is so you know they're bringing Futurama back.
I didn't know that.
So Hulu. Yeah. Did you hear that?
Yeah. It's a big pop.
So Hulu is bringing back Futurama.
Okay.
Which is great in my opinion. It's a great show.
It's same guy as The Simpsons, Matt Groening.
Yes.
He wrote that show.
Yep.
Is he attached to this new iteration? Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Everybody is. All the original
lovely
cast, all of them.
Well, that should be great then.
So the way it ties in is so the voice of Bender. Everybody else signed on. The voice of Bender, who's a pretty substantial voice.
I was about to say, let's clarify, just in case anyone hasn't seen Futurama. He's the robot.
Yeah, he's the robot.
Probably the most quotable and influential character.
Bite my shiny metal ass. That guy.
Yeah.
So he, whenever it came time for deliberations, whenever it came time for, contracts, he said, not only do I want more money for me, I want more money for all the cast. And made a point.
Sort of a Robin Hood statement. I like that.
Made a point to make a statement to the fans, just so you know, this is what I requested. I did not request it because I think this is, I'm some hoity-toity actor or anything. It's just
not a cash grab.
I feel like the TV cinema crowd, like the TV producers, are essentially using us at this point as just cash grabs. Quick cash, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I feel like we should be paid a fair wage.
Do you disagree with that?
No, God, no.
That's
no,
what I'm saying.
No, I don't disagree at all. No, I think he's entirely in the right. So, like, when you look back on shows like Friends, if the production was making, I'm going to use extremes.
Yeah.
If the production was making 20 million episode, right?
I don't even know that that's necessarily extreme. Because that was the highest syndicated television show of its time.
It's not necessarily extreme, but what I'm saying is, if they were making 20 million episodes, they have the money to pay $1 million per actor. Per lead act.
At the very least. And that doesn't even... Yeah,
characters.
but that doesn't even, factor in the fact that they had, like,
Tom
Selleck and Brad Pitt. And, know, big guest actors.
All he was saying was, man... They're making a shit ton of money, whether we get a raise or not. They're making a shit ton of money, but we're the ones that are continuing to come back and make this show, put our hard work in. I just want us to be paid, equivocally. Like, I want us to be paid the same amount that they're being paid to a degree, percentage-wise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of how I feel about my wage. Like, I make a good living. But at the same time, my wage 3 years ago was great. My wage now, it's good, but it's not great.
So here is a little blurb that I think is appropriate to bring up for this. Seinfeld, highest grossing television show of all time in America.
Right.
Jerry Seinfeld, main actor of the entire show.
Oh, thank you for...
Yes. For the younger audience. Started making 20,000...
I looked up our analytics.
Yeah?
No younger audience.
No younger audience? Okay. So for all of you old people...
What's up, Tim? 45-year-old Tim. I see you, buddy.
We love you. We love
Austin.
you, Tim.
Shout out Austin Boyd.
Austin Boyd. Yeah, I know Austin Boyd.
Yep.
Great person.
Shout out Austin Boyd.
Thank you for watching.
Man. You are a valiant supporter.
Indeed.
We love you.
Indeed.
He wants to know where his episode is today, by the way.
Tomorrow. It'll come out tomorrow. I've had a shitty week at work.
That was just funny for me to bring up right now because he said something earlier.
Yeah, no, for sure. So Jerry Seinfeld started at 20 grand. That was my alarm to upload the podcast.
Was that your
tomorrow.
Jerry Seinfeld's fucking rich alarm?
I wish. So Jerry started at 20 grand.
Small nip.
When he finished at the last season, season 6, he was earning $100,000 per episode. And as he famously stated on the what was his name? The older Jewish guy who has the really famous talk show on Fox, I believe.
Jimmy Fallon.
No.
Jimmy Kimmel.
King. Larry
Greg
King.
Ferguson.
Larry King.
So
So Larry King
I nailed it.
had Seinfeld on, and Seinfeld famously went, the show didn't get canceled. I walked away from it. I was the highest paying actor in television history. And that was like in the early 2000s when he had that interview. Making $100,000 per episode.
That's not shit.
Not shit. The highest paid television... Well, I don't want to misquote.
In season 10 of Friends, they were making $1 million an episode.
Yeah, okay. So, who is the highest paid television actor today? Robert De Niro is the highest paid television actor in the United States.
I don't even know if that counts.
Makes sense.
But
he makes
he's a movie actor.
$775,000 per episode on his yet unnamed Amazon drama that hasn't come out yet.
Oh my god.
So he doesn't even make $1 million an episode. He makes $775,000 per episode. So,
I think a sitcom died.
well, yeah, probably.
I wish it would come back.
Me
love
too.
Sitcom.
I loved.
Man, some of my favorite shows are sitcom.
Everybody Loves Raymond, Friends,
I don't give a
Seinfeld,
fuck what anybody says.
30 Rock.
Fuck everybody.
Yeah.
Friends is great.
Friends is great.
How I Met Your Mother, great.
Masterful.
Astonishing.
I
Fuck
love
you.
that show.
Even the worst episode is better than anything that you could create.
Yes.
And I'm saying that to the haters, not to Red, because we're working on a
'Cause
short
we
film.
love-
That's great. Like, yeah.
Well, we also have a deep affection.
A deep burning love for How I Met Your Mother.
How I Met Your Mother, yeah.
Yeah, everybody loves Raymond. Dude, King's a Queen?
Oh, so good.
Come on.
Well, okay, so let's look up his wage. What is his name?
James. Kevin James?
Kevin James. How much did Kevin James make per episode on Kings of Queens? I love that Siri just knows these things. He made $300,000 per episode.
Damn.
It's great money.
Fuck yeah, it's great money. Could you imagine being an actor making $300,000 an episode? Was that? I have to imagine that's the later seasons. But still,
I would imagine, but
still,
even still, he.
if I was making $20,000 an episode,
yeah,
right, $20,000 an episode,
which is the lowest
10,
Seinfeld ever got paid,
and there's 10 episodes in a season.
Normally, there's 21.
You're recording
minimum
2 seasons per year.
Yeah,
You're making a fuck ton of money.
and then you have a year off.
You're making a fuck ton of money.
Let's do the math real fast, just because. So if we're making,
I'll tell you what the math is right now on the top of my head.
$20,000 per episode.
Right, 20 grand per episode. How many episodes?
I'm gonna say 21 because that's standard
21
for television.
Okay,
For
so
22-minute episodes, that's about right.
Okay.
So
400 and what? 20,000.
420,000.
Yeah.
So that's 420,000 for one season.
I'm glad the camera saw me do that without looking
was
at
great.
your fucking phone.
Times 2, that's 840,000
Yeah.
per 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And then you get a year off.
Yeah.
In between seasons.
Yeah.
And then you go record another
typically you record 2 seasons per year.
Right.
Because it's
Well, because especially those older sitcoms that are filmed in front of a live studio audience, it's kind of like a straight play, or a comedy play. It's theater.
It's a theater.
Yeah. So you go and do that. It's one night.
I want to do that.
I would love that as well. Hey, you know what? If this blows up enough, we'll be able to.
That's true. Guys, will you please just make us famous?
We more so than that, we just want to do live shows.
Oh, I just want to finish the short film.
That too. Okay, you know what? I have been really skeptical about putting out any details as far as that goes on the podcast.
Oh, the short film?
Let's finish it out by describing a little bit about the short film and get them hyped for it. Because I feel like it's an appropriate
I don't think it's
platform.
fair to get them hyped for it right now because we're not going to be able to do anything with it for
a couple months.
I think that's a waiting. That's a waiting game.
Okay.
I think we should wait.
Let's put it this way. We have a short film that we've written that we will premiere here, and we're very excited about it. And you want to drop the title?
Listen. I don't know about that. I don't know about dropping the title yet.
Listen,
I don't know about dropping the title yet, okay? What do you want from me?
If they can't pick up the subtext there, then they're fucked.
It's a suspense thriller.
Yes.
To the utmost core.
Yes.
And almost to a degree could be described as psychologically.
It's a psychological thriller.
It is a psychological thriller.
Not that it's going to be made this masterfully, because it is a low budget.
Oh, please.
Short film.
Please use the example, I think.
But I think it would be akin to American Psycho.
Not what I thought, but yeah, I like that. Yeah.
What were you going to say? I think that's the most akin we could make the storyline.
When I think of the ending, I think of
Place in the
Shutter
Pines.
Island.
Okay. Yeah.
I think of Shutter Island when I think of the ending.
Yeah.
Kind of fucks you up a little bit.
A little bit. Shutter Island was a very interesting film.
It's very all over the place.
But Scorsese, I think it's one of the weakest Scorsese films, but one of the best psychological thrillers. It's very interesting.
That's an interesting take. We should.
I feel like that's accurate though.
Okay.
Because Goodfellas is always going to be my number one Scorsese.
I am
maybe Taxi Driver.
Such a fan of what you just said right there that I almost feel like we should have a whole show based on that. That is, wow. No, that was. Did you hear that from someone else, or did you come with that?
No, that was off the dome.
That's all you?
Yeah.
That's true.
I believe so.
It is. While it is great.
Yeah.
It's a great film.
Great film. Worst Scorsese film, though. Except for maybe, what was it, After Hours or something like that? The movie about the bar? Yeah, that wasn't great.
When you line it up, man, we might, oh shit.
Have a whole Scorsese episode?
We might have to line all of his episodes up. We might have to line all of his movies up, figure out what the worst is.
Do like a tier ranking?
Where Shutter Island falls in place.
I think we'd have to have my buddy Noah on if we did that. Because he is...
I love Noah.
He is a Scorsese file.
Is he?
Yes. That is probably his favorite director. He showed me Scorsese's short films from when he was a young kid, growing up in Brooklyn. Man, that stuff is incredible. You know what? It's really interesting. I've noticed this. As you look at directors, if you go back to their very earliest work, you see exactly why they became who they became. Because the short films that Scorsese put out... Fuck that up. Let me do that again. Scorsese put out. If you look at...
It's not like it's going to get edited out.
No, I know. I'm just clarifying for my own self.
I just need to feel proud of me.
Well, I just need to feel that I delivered my point well.
Fair enough.
Articulately. Scorsese put out short films that were innovative for the time.
Right.
Not every filmmaker does that. Scorsese did it. Christopher Nolan did it. Fellini did it. Have we ever talked about Federico Fellini? Because he is a very interesting human being. I said interesting twice just then. You're dying. That was a rough last swig.
Listen, man.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal.
Yep. It's fine.
It doesn't taste as good when there's 3 of them in there. Oh, God.
You know what? This has been...
the Just After Midnight
podcast.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching, guys.
After midnight.